Hello, everyone, and welcome. All right, we're going to take a 30 minutes or so here to go through the communication settings in Canvas. So thank you so much for attending. Let's see here. We'll be sending out a tip sheet after this, so we will have this information available for you. But we are available as the Online Instructional Design Team to assist you with your upcoming course. My name is Justin Lewis, and there are several other instructional designers and our videographer here to assist with this webinar. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just talk a little bit briefly here about some of the resources that we have available for you. So within the Canvas system itself, there is a great support system set up. So you actually have a live chat available to you. There is a Canvas support hotline, and there is a very robust training services portal that is integrated into Canvas. So as you go through the journey of developing your course, you will have lots of assistance from Canvas itself, as well as the Online team. All right, so today, what we're going to do is we are going to learn about the notification settings in Canvas. We are going to learn about the calendar, how to create events, assignments, and appointments. So you can set up actually office hours that your students can sign up for. How to use the announcements feature, and we'll briefly go over discussions and the Canvas inbox. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move PowerPoint out of the way. I'm doing a full screen here because I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth between several browsers. So it's going to be a lot of windows. Okay, so first off, let's talk about notification settings. Okay, so let's see. I am going to go over here to my account and then select notifications right here. So the thing I think the most important thing to understand about notifications right off the bat is that they are customizable on a personal basis, though. So you can customize your notification settings. That will not be customizing your students' notification settings. They will be able to customize their own settings. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select notifications here. Okay, so coming on down. We have all these different options here. And as you can see over here, we have all these different icons. And if you hover over them, you get little tooltips, and they'll tell you what these are, and you can turn these on and off, and this is going to help you set up your notifications. So how you receive your notifications. All right, and the students will be able to do this too. Okay, one moment here. Okay, so there are various settings here that you can set these up for. Notice when I click on these, we can notify immediately, a daily summary, a weekly summary, or we can actually turn that notification off. All right, so because these are customizable by the students as well, I would highly encourage you to have your students leave the notifications for announcements on. And we'll go over announcements briefly, but announcements are a way for you to put out important information relative to your course, and you can also pin those to your homepage. And so when you make a change on there, the students will get notified. And so that's a really good one to make sure to keep up. But I just encourage you to go ahead and explore all of these different options right here. I know there's a lot, so we don't need to go through them all, but you can simply turn them off or, set them up daily, weekly, and to suit your needs, okay? And please feel free to stop me anytime you have any questions about anything specific on here. So again, I think the most important thing to understand about these is that your students will have different settings on here. And so the best thing to do is to encourage them for ones that you want them to have on. In particular, announcements is a great one to start with. All right. So, and again, that is in your account, and then notifications, okay? And these are actually global settings. Now, this menu over here is actually called the global navigation menu, and it actually governs global settings for the course. There's gonna be a lot of menus in Canvas, and some menus will actually be course specific. This is actually a global, so for your Canvas account in general. So the settings that you set in here will actually be global settings. Okay, so I'm gonna close that now, and you should all be able to access in the same way, your account picture and notifications. As you can see, we click on that, more menus pop up. Okay, so moving on down here, let's go ahead and talk, since we're in the global menu right now, let's take a look at, oh, is there a question?
Yeah, Justin, does each
Oh,
notification generate an email to our account? So,
yes,
like if a student responds to something, does that generate an email?
it
If you
does.
have all notifications on.
Yes, it does. And so you can actually, yeah, in fact, that's a good point. You can actually really, if you have them on, you can flood the students with quite a few emails. And so it's important, I think, to choose on there. Uh, uh, yeah, or so it's important, and you can get flooded. Sorry, if they're for yours, you can get flooded with a lot of emails. It's important to actually customize that to make sure you're getting the information that you want. Yeah, it's a great question though. Okay, yeah, and please feel free to let me know if you have any more. Okay, so since we're over here in the global navigation, let's go ahead and move over to calendar next. Calendar is another one that is a global setting. So what we set in their calendar right here, it's for all your courses. Students will have the same calendar, and anything that you put on here specific to the course, students will also see. So when you create assignments and you set due dates on those assignments, those due dates will appear on the calendar. And so students will actually get all of this information. And everything in Canvas is actually, it's really nicely circular in that you can go into your assignments and you can create an assignment, set the due date on it, or a quiz or a discussion, and set the due date on it, and it will show up on this calendar. You can also, from within the calendar, add items, add events, and you can also add assignments and quizzes directly through the calendar. Then you have to go into the specific areas where you would then edit those, but you can do that all from right here. So we have the ability here to choose what calendars are visible. Okay. Now we can actually change the view over here with weekly, monthly, or by agenda, and we can actually add new events. Let's take a look at adding new events here. Okay, see, we can add assignments. Okay, and those assignments again here can be grouped by discussions, quizzes, or special projects. Okay, we can add to-do lists. Okay, and we can add appointment groups. All right, so we create an event, I can just put in here something like test events, and we'll go ahead and just add that today. And maybe we'll just make it all day, and I'll just leave everything here at default. All right. And notice down here, we can choose what calendar we want it on part of it, as in what course this particular calendar would actually, this event would appear on. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit submit right here. Okay, see how we have a test event now. All right, so that a test event has now showed up for this course. Let's go ahead and look at something that I think is actually pretty useful here. Is the appointment group. So this is actually a way to set up office hours, and then students can actually sign up for these office hours. So let's just call this office hours. Right? All right, like so. Location, oh, we'll just say my Zoom. Okay, this could be your room, your office. It could be a virtual meeting. All right. And of course, we could put the details for that down there, including the link to Zoom or whatever. All right. So here's where this gets pretty neat. Okay. So let's go ahead and pick a day here. So we could do the 16th. Let's go ahead and just do the 17th. All right. So we'll set that for tomorrow. And the time range, oh, let's see here. Maybe we'll do 1300 to 1500. All right, so there we go. Okay, so we have this time range here, all right? And what we can do is we could actually set these for, say, let's set them for 15-minute meetings, like so, all right? And then hit go. Look at that, it populated all of those now. It's going to create all those different 15-minute meetings that students can then sign up for, all right? So then I'll actually come on down here and you can see we have some more options here where we could limit the number of users. So if you want more than one student, maybe it's a study group, maybe a TA is setting up a study group and it wants to, allow more than one person into the group. This is a great way to do that, or you can just make it limitless as well. All right. Allow students to see who has signed up for the time slots that are still available. So that's another option right here. Okay, and then limit the participants to attend. Okay, so that's a limit the amount of appointments that you want them to attend. Go ahead and let Kit in. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and publish that. Oh, I need to select a calendar. So we're going to go ahead and put it into Justin's demo course for today, like so. And let's see. And of course, if we had groups, you could have students sign up in groups. So this would be great if you were having students work in group projects, or perhaps the TA is working with groups. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit publish right here. Now look at that. This whole thing has filled up with all these different spots right here. So let's go ahead and try and create another event real quick for the 18th and see what happens there. So I'm going to go ahead and create an assignment this time, and we'll just call this test assignment, like so. All right, and we'll go ahead and put this one on the 18th. Okay. And we have to publish this one in order for this to be visible. So we'll go ahead and see if this is visible to our test student. All right. Now, more options here will actually open this assignment up into the assignments area. So we have now left the calendar because we selected more options. And this gives us the ability to then populate the assignment itself. And we'll go ahead and just put in test assignment content right here, just real quick so that we can move on. And let's see. We will go ahead and we have the date set for the 18th. I think that is good to go. Let's just go ahead and save and publish this. Okay, let's go back over here to our test course. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh this again. You can see as I'm a student, I'm logged in. I see I have an event here and I see I have a test assignment here. Okay, and so that is a way for those to show up on there. And so let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and hop back over as the teacher once again. Okay, and so let's see. Yeah, I'll have to figure that one out. So anyway, coming back over here, we can also create our own to-do lists. All right, and that is the basics of the calendar. I guess just keep in mind that you can actually control your calendar view over here. All right, so if you have a lot of courses, you can then you know, turn on and off the different courses that you want visible. All right, and so let's see, what are we doing for time here? We're doing all right. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move down to the next one here. This is moving outside of global and into our courses. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my courses and we'll go to my demo course here. So we'll come down here to announcements. Okay, so announcements, they're I mean, they're a little bit different than forums. You know, I know in Moodle we had the announcement forum. So this is, we have discussions. It's actually reserved for creating actual forums for student engagement, although you can allow students, depending on the settings, students can respond inside of announcements depending on the settings. However, these are really reserved for when you are making an announcement to the course. And again, you would encourage students to have their notifications on for their announcements, and then they will receive and notice that there has been an announcement up. So let's go ahead and create an announcement. Okay, so I am going to select announcements, and we will just come over here and we will just say, hello world. Okay, and of course we could just put whatever we want in here. Notice that we have the rich text editor with all of these different options available. So I can actually, if I want to, upload something. So maybe we'll come over here and we will go inside here and we will grab this lovely fiddlehead fern picture. All right, and we'll go ahead and hit submit. Okay, so now we are uploading this image. Of course, we can add all kinds of content in here as well, just really what you would expect. We can attach attachments. Maybe you want to send something out, a PDF to the students or something like that. And we can then, let's just go ahead and save this one. I'm gonna hit publish. All right, so you get really used to the publish feature in Canvas because that is how things are visible. So if you create an item and the students cannot see it, make sure that it's published. All right. Okay, so there we go. There's our fiddlehead fern. Okay, so now there's a couple of things here that I'd like to note about announcements. So first off, over here in our homepage, okay, notice that let's see, is this thing pinned? Okay, there we go. So I want to be able to pin this announcement right here. Here's our new one. And so what we need to do is we need to go to settings and make sure that the ability to pin the announcement is there. And that way you can actually pin the announcement onto your page. So I'm going to go ahead and come down here to settings. All right, and I would get used to actually exploring settings for all kinds of different options. You know, you can actually, you know, you'll see right here, if you have a template, you'll have an image for the course on here, but there's a lot of good stuff in here that we're not covering today, but that will actually provide more details about your course and the specific settings for your course. Now, ooh. So another idea, I'm drawing a blank right now on actually where the announcement pin is. Does anybody know?
What was the question, Justin? I'm sorry.
The announce where you set the number of announcements that are pinned to the home page.
More
And again-
options under description.
That's it. Wonderful. Okay, wonderful. Even have that. Thank you so much. All right, and thank you for bearing with me, everyone. We are all new to Canvas, so we are all in this together. Okay, there we go. So that is now checked. Show recent announcements. 2, 3 might be too many. I'm just gonna put 1. You can put 1 or 2. I think it is recommended not load that up too much. Okay, so I'm gonna come back over here to my home page. All right, notice the announcements now up there. So when students come to their home page, if you have an important announcement, like if you are, maybe there's a date change, maybe there's something new or a cancellation, something that really needs to get to the students right away, you can use announcements for that. And if you pin it like this, it's going to be the first thing they see when they come to the course. And so it's a great way to get information to them that is vital and relevant to the course. Okay. So announcements, and then let's go ahead and hop back over to my test student here. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and go to Justin's demo course. Hopefully, since we just got bit on the calendar once with this, I won't do it again. Go ahead and select the course. And there we go. I'm as a student, I'm in student view. There is my Hello World announcement, and we can log in or open it up and see that lovely fiddlehead fern. All right, so let's go ahead and hop back over to the course from the teacher side. And let's go down to another important one here. Let's take a look at the inbox. We're going to hop back over to global again. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on inbox. This is basically like your email. Okay, so actually, it's a nice clean interface compared to what we had with Moodle. So I think this is a nice upgrade. I'm pretty excited about this. So as you can see, we have all these different icons over here, and go ahead and hover over them to get the tooltip on what each one of these features are. I'm going to go ahead and compose an email. Now, here is the important part. You can select the course. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select Justin's demo course. We can send one individually. We could, select names that are in here, okay? Or we can choose. I'll go ahead and go to students. I have one student here who's not so brilliantly named test user. Okay, so that's who we got. So I'm going to go ahead and say, hello, test user. All right, and then we can say, content here. I'm not being creative. Okay, there we go. Let me go ahead and move our Zoom out of the way again. Okay, so we can send attachments if we want to. Okay, or I'm going to go ahead and just send that. Okay, so that has been sent. All right, now notice how it says inbox up here. I can go ahead and hit the drop-down menu and I can go to my sent images. And there we go. I've got lots of hello worlds and test messages that I've sent. Okay, fantastic. So that has been sent. Let me hop back here. Notice that we can do things like star. I would encourage just going through and just hovering over everything and just clicking on things and just get familiar with this. But again, this is a global thing here, and so you can access all of your courses through here. Okay, and there's really not much more to the inbox than that. It's actually, I like it's a nice clean interface. It reminds me much more. Do we have someone in the chat here? Let's see. You should be able to set that independently. I'm sorry, what are you asking, Louis?
Scroll a little bit more, Justin.
Oh, there we go. Oh, when should you use announcement? Oh, that's a great question. So, let's see. I suppose if you want to speak with students, well, if you want to speak with students individually, then for sure, then that's when you would use the inbox, I suppose. Another thing, I guess I think it would really be dependent on the specific situation. When you would use the one versus the other. For announcements, if it's something that you want to always have up on the course that all the students see when they continually log in, you want to offer resources. Also, I think an announcement kind of integrates that experience into the online learning environment itself, as opposed to, maybe separating it into the global inbox, which is for everything. It's just directly relevant to that course. If anybody else, the IDs have some ideas on what, anyway,
Yeah,
what,
Justin, I can chime in for just a second on the on the on-demand course, and even in the student course, we really talk about announcements being reserved for those global kind of changes to a course, a cancellation, a date, exactly like Justin had mentioned earlier, something that, is pretty important that people would want to get right away, and encouraging students to leave that notification on, since they control getting those push notifications to their phone. That's why we're encouraging them to leave the announcements on, and for faculty to use those and reserve those for those big things, so that people don't get too annoyed and start turning them off. So that would be the announcement piece. Kind of other things would probably go to the individual inbox distribution.
fantastic. Thank you so much, Tana. Okay, that's great.
So here's my example.
Okay.
I run a 7-week course, and I often, on the day that topic 3 is open, I'll send something to the students that says topic 3 is now open. So is that something, I mean, it's not really a change to the course, it's on the syllabus, but just to remind them, it's now open. So that would be more of a message thing than an announcement, right? Or
yeah, I guess so. Although if it's something that's new, then I think maybe an announcement would be really appropriate for that. But if it's maybe a weekly thing where you're just letting them know when the new topic is open for that week or every few days in the course, then maybe not putting those in announcements and actually sending them to the inbox is appropriate.
okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. So another spot for communication, I'm going to actually hop back into, leave global navigation and hop back into my course. And now we have our course navigation on the side, is discussions. So discussions are the forums. And so they're actually just, actually very basic forums, just like what the standard forum for general use is in Moodle. And this is where students can actually engage with each other. They can engage in groups. They can engage with a teacher. You can actually, put a prompt in here just as you would in Moodle, and students can reply to that, or students can actually communicate with each other. And let's go ahead and do that now. So go ahead and select discussion here, and we'll create a new discussion. And I'll just say, we'll just say new right here. Okay, coming down here, again, we have the rich text editor, which will allow us to add all kinds of content in here again. And just to make everything more visually interesting, let's go ahead and add another picture. Ooh, what should we pick? We'll go ahead and pick this blue heron. It's actually perched up in a tree. All right, got that by Sheep Mountain. Look at that guy. All right, so, and again, we can add attachments in here, and I'll go ahead and let's just go ahead and oh, notice that we can make these graded or ungraded. Okay, so you can actually grade these. You can add the dates and when they're available from. This is a really nice feature because you can open and close it by dates, which is something I think that a lot of people requested in Moodle. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and save this. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here. All right, look at that lovely heron. And then notice we have our reply button here. So we can go ahead and hit the reply button and continue the conversation thread. All right, and let's see here. We can go ahead and do the same thing. So students can actually share artwork this way. They can actually do peer reviews and critiques, all of that. Let's go ahead and add this. We'll add some fairy slipper orchids. All right, these are also taken up by Sheep Mountain. Do I have another question? I think I see something in the chat. Oh.
It's not in the chat, but I have a question.
Oh,
so
yes.
in Moodle, there was what I think it was called Student Lounge, where students could pose random questions like, somebody might say, I can't find the textbook, and somebody would say, I found it here or whatever.
Yep.
Would that be set up as a regular discussion?
It would. And then in modules, what you could do is create your own module in Canvas and have that be Student Lounge. And then that's just where they go for that. And then, different modules could have a graded forum for a discussion, or Oh, in this case, it looks like we're doing, we're sharing photography, right? So, but yeah. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and there we go. So we have 2 of these and I'll go ahead and reply to that. All right, so we have this nice little chain of events going on here. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and hit discussions again. So we'll go back and you can see that now down here, I have this discussion. All right, I have a couple more discussions here as well, but here's the newest one, like so. And yeah, it's a nice clean interface. Actually, I think students will enjoy this. I think sharing images is a little more clear in the new Canvas discussions than it was in Moodle. Okay, so we have, let's take a look here. Yeah, and so the other thing I think I would point out is the discussion index. Notice how these eyeballs are off right here. So these are off, and so you can actually, the students don't necessarily need to go to these areas here. They're hidden. But within the modules area, and this would be how we would do this, is you can create modules, and then in the modules, you can add different content. So, let's see, maybe if I just added a module real quick and we just call this a student chat space, something like that. We just put something like that right here and we just create that module. And then right here, we can actually choose a module. Whoops. Didn't do that right there at all. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and publish that. Okay. Publish the module. And I'm going to add a discussion. Add a discussion. And we'll go ahead and add new. All right. And my runway. Let's go ahead and add that item. Now we have that in the modules. So you can create your discussions in here just like you can with assignments and quizzes, and then you can actually add them in here so you can control what the students are seeing through the modules. It's kind of like when you had the unit and topic weeks in Moodle in the content area on the top. And so now students, when they go to their modules right here, they will, let's see, it's going to be way down here though. And then of course we can drag these around right here. They have a student chat space, and maybe we would actually want to drag that, have that all the way up at the top or something. And then they have this, I'm going to go ahead and publish that. Now they have this ability to chat right here. And the my test student could then go in. We're kind of running out of time here, but my test student could go in on this side and go to the modules. Right here, add to that same discussion. All right. So they can see all these images, and then maybe the test student would then want to reply and then upload, in this case, another image. All right, so that was a quick rundown on the notifications, the calendar, announcements, inbox, and discussions.